I'm Melissa Bunch.
Hello, it's Paul Bunch.
And welcome to the Spirit Code. And today's the best day ever.
It is.
It is. So today.
It is.
It is. Today's day 3 of our marriage class. And I really hope that you've been watching and paying attention. I know each of our classes are about an hour long, so it'd be perfect date night with your spouse to pick which one that you feel would benefit your relationship the most, and watch it together. And which one would that be? It'd probably be today. Actually, all of them have some great nuggets of I would love to say wisdom, but I'm kind of thinking more along the lines of tools to benefit you to make some amazing changes in your life. Right? So.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So our first day, we were talking about some things that we've learned from our previous relationships and since we've both been divorced, and some changes that we have made to create a better dynamic this time. And the second day, we were talking about fate and agency and choice and accountability. And today is a look behind I'm stuck, the words aren't coming out. A look behind closed doors so that you can see what our marriage looks like behind closed doors. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about how our relationship influences our children. And Friday it's going to be an energy discussion on how to do cleanup when you have conflict.
Yeah, basically, guys, when you mess things up, you got to know how to fix it. For you too, women.
Okay, so this is our dining area, and we thought this would be a great opportunity for us to be up and about, moving around, and kind of showing you some of our interaction. We'll keep it to the space because we don't really have a cameraman following us around. We're not, quite there yet. One day. So, okay, the reason why I want to do this is I in my previous relationships, one thing that I just kept on saying over and over was, man, I just don't know what normal is supposed to look like. And like I have some people from church that told me to stop using the word normal, Melissa. Like, that's not fair. There is no normal. But for me, I really needed to know what a healthy dynamic and a healthy relationship looked like so that I could pattern my relationship on a more healthy manner. Because I also kind of wondered, I was like, well, maybe this is just what it's supposed to look like. Maybe we're supposed to argue all the time. And there was this quote in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and it was at the very end, and they were talking about how none of them got along. Like they were always fighting. They were always like at each other neck and neck. And he was like, "That's right, because we're family." And I went, that is so sad that our understanding of family involves so much conflict. And I had this one friend growing up who. He had been married for, I don't know, a couple of years, and they said that they've never fought. And I was like, oh, that's possible?
They must not have any opinions at all.
I was so confused. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. I didn't know that was an option. And so anyhow, when we were putting our relationship together and creating different patterns and different habits, that was something that I really put a lot of time and effort into, was to really study what relationships look like, because I really wanted this one to work. I did not want another divorce, and I did not want more misery. I didn't want to just get married, just be miserable in 6 months. So what does our marriage look like behind closed doors? And I actually think Kirk Cameron is doing something like this. I saw like some previews that he was doing like a marriage class thing and like bringing you into his house, but he has like a cameraman and a really nice house. We have a really small house and a computer. But one day will be special and other people will. Okay, so one of the things I want to cover, actually I'm going to give you kind of a little bullet list so you have an idea what we're going to cover today to maybe keep you around so you want to watch the whole thing. So the first one I want to talk about is the things that we do every day to create love in our relationship, including flirting. So we're going to talk a lot about how to flirt in a relationship or in a marriage or while you're single. Like this was so important for me to learn when I was single, because if you really want to create a healthy relationship, you already need to know what to do. You already need to know what directions to go and how to handle it. Like if you get in the relationship and you're in this now what phase, because you haven't studied this, it's, you know, you're going to start off on a foot that you might end up keep sabotaging your relationships. And this is something that I actually went to a handful of marriage classes when I was single, intentionally for that purpose. I really wanted to understand and really wanted to learn and wanted to do the same thing, take a look inside what a healthy relationship looked like, so I knew how to pattern my relationships. Okay, and then we're going to talk about how he shows me love, how I receive it, how I show him love, and how he receives it, because the views are so different. So we want to discuss that. And then the masculine and the feminine roles, how we incorporate silliness into our relationship, how men and women communicate differently, and how to respect the other person's view, daily practices to keep the marriage really positive, how we handle conflict, and how we treat each other. That sounds like a lot, but I think we can do it in about an hour. Okay, so this is worth watching, and we're going to entertain you because I'm a lot of fun, and he's hilarious. Okay, so the first one, things that we do every day to create love in our relationship, including flirting and the love languages, okay? So can I jump to love languages first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Love languages. Most everybody has read the love languages book. And for the longest time, I didn't really know what my love language was. I kept on saying, well, a little bit of everything, or maybe it's just quality time and service, or just service and affirmations. But I had a contingency on everyone. I was saying, well, service, because I didn't feel like my spouse was helping out at all. I felt like I was doing everything alone. And so I thought service, that would be my love language. And then I thought, well, affirmations, because I wasn't receiving a lot of positive words from my spouse. There was a lot of criticism. And so I thought kind of the opposite of what I was experiencing, right? Because if I was experiencing...
Which brings up a good point. If you're criticizing your spouse more than you're offering them positive words, where do you think that relationship is going to go?
Yeah, it's going to push the other person away pretty fast. And the thing is, and that's what we talked about yesterday with fate, is that we have agency every day to choose this person to be your spouse, and that we don't have a guarantee. And that fate, we typically believe in fate and destiny because it gives us a guarantee, so we can kind of do what we want. And that's just not a part of God's plan. And how we came to how I really, because for me it was a total reprogramming of my belief system. And so how I came to that and why and how my new belief system works.
I actually want to pause on the words a little bit more.
Yes, affirmations.
Okay. Hold on now. Let's practice something.
I am doing my Superwoman pose
Yeah.
because this one helps me to feel really good about myself before talking. Let's talk.
All right, Melissa.
By the way, we're silly all the time in our relationship, and that's actually helpful.
Melissa.
Yes, Paul.
You are so beautiful. What do you say?
I received that. Or, thank you.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you receive it?
Are you trying to tell me that you've been in relationships where you say that and she goes, oh, no, I don't?
Well, sometimes it's hard to receive a compliment.
Yes,
So sometimes we're like, oh, you know, I had this flaw here. Like, just don't look at it. Like, I just said you're beautiful and you're pointing out your flaws. You're right. You do have a big zit right there. I should have been looking at that.
And then I would be offended.
Yeah. So when you receive a positive compliment, don't be thinking about your flaws. Say, you know what? I am beautiful. I receive it.
In your eyes.
Yeah.
And that's what matters. Even if I'm like, oh, but I put on some weight this last year and everything's kind of getting tight and I feel like much bigger than you in this video right now. But that's a beautiful statement that I really want to acknowledge that he was being really vulnerable by saying something positive to me, and he was putting himself in this space of opening up his heart. And that's not really something that we recognize. Like we hear these things, but we don't realize he just opened up his heart to me.
Yeah. Don't reject the words being offered to you if they're positive.
Okay, that's something else about him. I chose this man aware that he's a goofball. And that when he says positive words of affirmation, it's not going to be, oh, honey, oh, you're just the most beautiful woman in the world. And you just take my breath away. Oh, like he just isn't going to be Romeo
I'm not.
or Don Juan DeMarco or whatever you want to say is like these great romance men.
Not even close.
So I chose him because I love his personality. And so if then I'm like, oh, you never say that like you care. You just say it like you're joking. So I don't want to change his personality because that's what I love about him. And I don't want to criticize or control him. I want him to be himself. And the more that I criticize or tell him he needs to say it differently, the more he's like, she doesn't actually like me for who I am. And then he's going to squash who he really is. He's not going to feel open and vulnerable and safe. And he's going to pull back more and more and more. And in a relationship, like, it's so important to not create those barriers and those walls. Like, imagine a massive wall right here that I would build if I had rejected his vulnerability that he just opened up to right now. If I had said, why can't you say that in a more convincing manner? You don't believe it, do you? You're just joking.
You're like, okay.
Then he shuts down, right?
Yeah.
And then he would be like walking away feeling cruddy. And so the way I receive this is so important. Okay? So, well, by the way, everybody, just a second. This video is not for children. If you're under the age of 18 and you are watching, change channels. This is a marriage discussion. I'm sure nobody.
That'll be like, ooh, what can I learn now?
I know. They would be so bored about this way in. Mom's talking about love. So anyhow, seriously, if you're one of my children, you're not allowed to watch this. This is just for my business purposes. And this is also, once again, a marital conversation. I would like to be able to discuss different flirting patterns that are not for my children's ears or anybody's ears under the age of 18. So disclaimer, turn it off. Everybody else, please keep watching. Okay, so my compliment is probably going to be about his butt right now. Because, oh, stop!
Whoa. That was 18 and above. You said this was going to be PG. Is that why you didn't want the 18-year-olds or below to watch this?
I just wanted to compliment your butt. That you have the world's sexiest, curviest, manly butt.
Thank you.
Okay, so.
Sorry, I have a lot of control there.
He's such a good ball. Okay, so something that I kind of want to address is that when we are showing like these different love languages, that you do need to be aware with the other person, how they really understand love, how they receive love, how they communicate love. So I want to jump back to where I was talking before, because in my first relationship, I felt as though I wasn't being talked to nicely and that the other person wasn't helping me out. I thought service and affirmations were my love languages. So when I got to be single for a few years, yes, it was a got to be for me, because I was able to really develop myself. I was able to improve myself, and I was able to really heal in a way that I wasn't able to do in that situation. And so that's not to tell you how to handle your relationship. That was just how I handled mine. So the more and more that I went through, I kept on saying touch was not my love language. That my whole life, I just don't really want anybody to touch or to be super close. And it took me a little bit of time, but I realized that that was my number one love language, and that I kept people at arm's distance. And I didn't want them to touch me, because to me it was a very sacred, very holy, very reverent act that I didn't give away. I didn't give it to very many people. And if they did, and at a certain point, I like all of a sudden really went, oh my goodness, I really want touch. And that's how I feel love and I express love. And as a single woman, you have to be really careful with boundaries if that is your love language. But the purpose, go ahead.
All right, I just want to step in here and say, all right, men, for you that don't know how to express your love through touch, let me just demonstrate this for you. Okay, did you get that? Should we practice again?
So the way that we receive and offer love is the same. And that was a fantastic assistance to our relationship to dating, was that we receive and we offer love the same way. And I know not everybody gets married later on in their life where they fully have learned how to communicate and who they really are and where they're going in life. And so you might be saying, yeah, but we got married at 20 and we just grew apart. We're totally different people and we don't communicate the same. Like, it's just too hard, right? And I get it. Like, we've both been divorced. We really, really get that. It makes perfect sense to me. And so how can you change that? Because we can create anything you want. I mean, really, the point is that God wants us to be happy, that life is, and men are, that they might have joy. And marriage is
that includes women too.
Marriage is about happiness. And so if you're in a relationship and you're unhappy, we either need to work to make some change to create different results, or, you know, find another solution that is going to be better for you. And to always take care of yourself, love yourself, and share love openly.
So just to let you know, for Melissa and I, our primary love language is actually touch. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I think it's very personal because you're letting like a boundary down, because we go throughout life, you know, it's like, you know, stay away at distance. And so when you actually let somebody close in and allow them to touch you and you touch them, it's letting down a lot of the boundaries that we grow up with. And so it's a very intimate kind of close thing that shows respect and love for that other person. And that's why, for me, it's kind of more of a special thing, rather than like anything else. Like, I'd say like 99% of my love language is probably just through touch.
Just touch, yeah. When they say that there's a secondary one, my secondary one is probably just a little bit of the others. Mm-hmm. And that really is like my number one. Because affirmations and intent and follow through is so critical. Because if the person just says something but does something different, that really doesn't work for me. Or if like quality time is fantastic. I really do love the quality time. And gifts really isn't much for me, but on my birthday, Valentine's Day, anniversary, like I don't even care if it's homemade, but I want to see that he cares enough that he put in some effort. And in fact, I prefer homemade. I usually don't like anything lavish. So, okay, so let's kind of move on to the purpose of showing the other person their love language. So let's say your love language, I'm going to role play with you. My love language is gifts. Your love language is touch. Or my love language is gifts, and let's do two for me, okay? My love language is going to be gifts and affirmation. And yours is going to be touch, mostly touch. But for me, I don't really like the touch. Okay, this is going to be 70% of the women that I know.
So this is actually a really good example here. So,
thank you.
Okay.
I received that compliment.
I don't know if it was meant to be a compliment. I thought we were role playing.
We are.
Okay.
But my idea was that good. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I get it. Okay. So.
Okay. How many times can we say it?
Shall we begin?
By the way, we joke all the time, and I'm very good with that. Okay.
All right. So your love language. What do you want me to practice first? The gifts or the affirmations?
Well, you got to be able to do both of them at the same time if you really love me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
it's my birthday, and you aren't able to come up with a gift or an affirmation on the spot, then I can tell.
Here's what this is going to look like, since mine is
That's
touch.
Apparently how he feels, and all he really cares about is sex. And, and it's just empty, and there's really nothing to it, and I feel like all you want is my body, and I'm just a piece of meat.
Well, for your birthday, I can understand buying you something, but when I do this, I kind of feel like...
Oh, don't bend over backwards now.
I kind of feel like I'm buying your love.
Are you serious?
And why do I have to tell you that I love you so much when I just can do this and say, I love you very much.
Anybody can do that.
So you're just saying that I'm anybody or nobody. I'm not anybody special.
We're not really fighting. I do love you. We're just role playing. Okay. Okay, back off. You can't touch. Okay.
That was only role playing.
So seriously, in this situation, it can really turn into a heated fight. Like that's just the beginning, because your feelings are now my feelings are involved. My emotions are involved, and I'm feeling rejected, hurt, unloved, betrayed, alone, empty. And
what's really going on here? It's clearly a misunderstanding of how we express ourselves. So there's an understanding that you need to come to understand how that other person expresses their love language.
And what they need.
Yeah.
Because right now, at this time, I'm thinking, well, it's my birthday, and I really want him to celebrate my existence, and I want like me and his life to be so amazing that he would do anything to celebrate that.
Yeah. So like she was
express that.
Like she was saying, it's like she's expecting some gifts and lots of words, but I'm saying, I'll give you my gift in the bed, you know? And so it's like,
or he's got his hand on me right there, and he thinks that he's telling me right now.
Yeah, so as she was saying, in her mind, sex is kind of devoid of the emotions that she's needing at that
It's time. More like I'm just being used.
Yeah, so I'm just taking advantage of her.
And right now, like I don't want to have anything to do with sex. Like it makes my skin crawl when you touch me.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm just not going to touch you.
So let's talk about how we're both feeling. How do you feel?
I feel rejected. Because if she doesn't accept my love, I'm like, what do I have to offer you then?
And what does life feel like to you right now?
Pretty crummy and alone.
Yeah, because marriage is kind of like the center of your life. Like work is just how you pay for your family. But work isn't your life. So your marriage is pretty stinking important. Because parenthood balances on marriage. And everything's kind of centered around this relationship. So if the relationship's falling apart, your whole life is kind of dragging.
All right.
Right?
So I think we've hit that pretty good. I feel kind of crummy, so.
Do you? I love you. And I won't ever stop touching you.
I know. So let's actually work on something that we can.
Can I jump in though?
Yeah.
The reason why we both feel crummy is because those were conversations we've had with our exes. And this is something he's heard before. And the things that I was experiencing are things I've heard before. Now, gifts was never one of my love languages, but the way that I was feeling like I just wasn't worth it, and the way that I was expressing myself was something that I have gone through too. So we both kind of got triggered and just started role play. And it wasn't true. No. Right? We were really just simply showing you how when you're needing something outside of yourself, you're needing your spouse to fulfill something. And right now, my birthday is November 30th, a couple days after Thanksgiving, and he is going to be out of town. And it is unavoidable. There's nothing that we can do to change that so he can be here. And I'm already kind of in this place of I'm needy on my birthday, and I don't need a lot. I just need my family to be here. And I just need my family to care and to, have a few balloons and have a cute little banner and have cake together and just be together. And that's it. Like I don't need anything else. But with him gone, knowing that he's gonna be gone, and I've known for a few months that he's gonna be gone, I'm really kind of already feeling unimportant, which is so ridiculous because it's an unavoidable appointment. It's an appointment that we do not have the power to change it. It has to happen. So how do we show a love language if I don't want to touch him?
I'm going to show you right now.
And he doesn't communicate with gifts. How do we fix this?
I'm gonna give you an example. Like if you are involved, if your love language is touch, I'll give you an example of how you can.
A woman or a man?
Well, I'm going to give you an example that cannot be denied, okay? So,
Okay. But I'm upset and I'm hurt. Hi.
Hi.
Now we're teaching a little bit of flirting. Hi.
You are so beautiful.
Thank you.
I love looking at you.
Yeah.
Your eyes are just amazing. You're so sweet.
Thank you.
I can't keep my hands off of you.
Oh my goodness, you're combining affirmations with touch. I'm so impressed. All right, sorry, I'm paying attention now. But are you going to think this way after we have sex?
Yeah.
You're going to still feel this way and think this way?
Always.
Okay. So what do I need to do if I don't feel love by being touched, but he's combining affirmations with touch right now? So he's kind of bridging that gap. What a smart idea. Isn't it?
I just said it can't be denied.
That was a really smart idea. Thank you, my dear. So how can I accept that? Because right now I'm going to be challenged. I'm going to be put in this place of my sacred love language of affirmations is being put kind of on trial, because now the one thing that makes me feel gross is being combined with the one thing that makes me feel loved. So I challenge you to challenge your own stories, to really say, why do I not want to be touched? Why don't I want intimacy with my spouse? Like, what is it that is causing that? Because that's kind of like right up there in the top two most important things in your relationship. If you're not being intimate with your spouse, serious changes need to take place. And I've talked to so many people that have said that it's been years since they've been intimate with their spouse. And they fight 24/7 too. So we have some changes to make. Like this, the problem in the world is not the divorce. The problem in the world is the marriage. And that we need to really find ways to make some changes in how we communicate with each other. So right now, I need to soften my heart. If I want a different situation, if I don't want to fight, if I don't want to get divorced, but I don't want to fight, but I'm always mad at him, or I'm always feeling betrayed or unloved, or I'm feeling empty, that's inside of me. And I need to make some internal changes to be able to feel differently. Now, if this is a domestic violence situation, very different. Get some help. Go to your local battered women's shelter, your local domestic violence shelter, and get some help. The YWCA is fantastic for this. But as long as it has not escalated to that point, or as long as both of you are choosing with your own free will to fix it, even if it is in that type of situation. I know a lot of people who also have been in domestic violence and they choose to make it work. So if that's the case and you're doing it by choice, then you both need to soften your hearts towards each other. And energy work is fantastic, so I highly recommend day 5 to learn how to soften your heart. Because what we're doing is that we keep looking for a logical solution for an emotional problem. And day 5, you're going to be working on the energetic solution, which works with the emotions. So that you are going to be able to remove those barriers and remove that negative feeling that you have towards the other person. So let's kind of get back into this.
Oh, okay.
So he's offering affirmations and touch. All right. Now you can see like how much bigger I am than you. I love you.
There you go.
I'm going to fall. Okay, so what do I need to do a little bit differently? Right? So he's trying. He has reached out and he has shown me love in his eyes, in his words, and in his touch, because he's using his love language combined with mine. So how do I communicate back? That is when some women will, no, right? It's your choice. But if you want this relationship to get better, and if you want to be happier in your life, then let's try something different.
It's the idea of setting them up for success.
Right, and once we do, right. So give him a chance to be the hero. And same with me. I want you to give me the chance to be the good guy. So if you constantly see the other person as all he cares about is sex, or all he cares about is touch or my body, then that's your belief system that you need to change. And we can help you with that. But when you work on that belief system, and we have a fantastic self-sabotage program that if you would like to participate in it, it is very affordable. And if you would like to take those steps, that really helps with changing that belief system. And so if I'm responsible for the way I respond, and he just reached out and showed it to me in the way that he can.
I'm reaching out.
You are.
Yes.
And I've got a choice to make. Do I want to reach back, or do I want to continue just being angry at him and being upset and feeling alone and feeling hurt and feeling sad and feeling wounded?
So
it might start with a small step. You're not going to leap into his arms and be like, oh, you're my dream man. But you can reach back and touch him back. Because to him, he might have been like dying of thirst in the desert. That touch,
I got you now. You cannot get away.
That touch was probably so healing for him, even if it was just on the hand, right? And then if you just keep starting a little bit more, do a little bit more and a little bit more until you feel safer, you can make some changes, right?
So, yeah. So
and if the other person's not responding, can I jump in really quick? If one person's doing all the work and the other person's not responding, now you might be on one side or the other. You might be the one constantly reaching out while the other person, just put your hand back out. The other person is like, right? And you might constantly be reaching out for a long time. You might be the person over here, like, I don't think so. Or you might be the person constantly reaching out. Yeah. And this is metaphorical.
Yeah, so what's probably going on is, well, he or she always does this and this and this.
Right. And he always does this. I know what he's going to really do.
If I take his hand, it's just going to fall back into the same old pattern.
Right.
And I'm just going to be stuck doing this like 3 months down the road, and we'll be in the same situation.
Right.
So why even try now, you know?
Thank you for saying it from my point of view in this role. Thank you.
So here's the thing. What does that tell you? You have to change the pattern.
Yeah, that mindset is so critical.
Changing the pattern, you have to know what pattern to change first, and then you have to know what pattern you want to have.
Yeah.
And so if you have a companion, a spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, that
and
is
first of all,
also,
they've chosen to be with you.
Yeah.
They can leave at any time. But if they're still there, they're still helping with the bills, and they're still home, they're still choosing you. And that is a big step. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but so you can change your own pattern, but you can't necessarily change the pattern of the other person. But you can introduce the ideas and say, hey, you know what, maybe we can do this. And if they're willing to work with you, then it's a good chance of success.
And they probably won't right at first.
Right.
Like, have you ever seen the movie Fireproof? I'm bringing up Kirk Cameron again in here. Mm-hmm. He did this amazing, I think that his example was just fantastic as to how both of them were ready to give up. So the first person that was reaching out was kind of doing so in a half-assed manner. I don't really want to swear in this video, but I don't know how else to say it that way. But, right, it's just kind of like, here, whatever. Yeah. No, because that's kind of how I started.
Yeah.
And the video is like, I'm doing it.
And then she responded,
like,
well,
whatever. No, her first 3 or 4 weeks, it was, I don't think so. That is so not real. Mm-hmm. You know, that's not good enough. I'm already done. You know? So when you're in that, I'm not really trying. I'm so sick and tired of the same old pattern, the same old routine. I'm not even really trying. So I'm gonna do it, but just so I can say I did. So I can say I tried. Ooh, sorry. So I can say that I did the effort. Like, I did the work. I tried so hard to make the marriage work. Right?
Yeah.
But did you really? Was it, half? I can't. How do I say that in a way without using the A word? Try not to swear here. Okay, so
half-heartedly.
Half-heartedly. Thank you. Half-heartedly. So if the other person is half-heartedly putting this in, you're most likely not going to respond. So if he was just half-heartedly doing this, I'm going to be like, whatever, and vice versa. But if you are truly saying, I really want change, I'm going to fix myself internally, fix my relationship with God, and I'm going to release the junk from my past so that I can see him as a good guy. He's different than me. He thinks differently than me. He behaves differently than me. He communicates differently than me. But, choose you. So that's the first step. Is there something that you had to add? Because I feel like you were waiting.
No, it's okay. I kind of forgot.
Oh, man.
It's all right.
So I want to talk about flirting before we go too far. Okay? So I've had so many people ask me, how do you flirt? And I had to get trained myself because I didn't know either. Like, if you have kids, your body parts become functional and not sexual.
Actually, let me talk about flirting from the guy's perspective first. Okay?
Oh, please do.
So, if you're like me and maybe many other guys out there, flirting doesn't necessarily always come across as flirting to the woman. Why? Well, because we're kind of crude about it. So, to us, flirting, when we do the cat call to the woman, woo-wee, baby, that's kind of flirting.
We feel disrespected.
But yeah, it's kind of disrespectful to her. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, it's fun for me. Why isn't it fun for you? Mm-hmm. I don't get it. So you have to come up with a good manner of flirting that's not going to be something that's going to turn them off.
Right.
And so I really like to joke around a lot, say silly things.
And, yes, he does.
And sometimes that is not always the right way to do it.
Not if I need an emotional connection.
Yeah, but...
But like I was saying, I choose a silly guy. Yeah. So it means I also need to respect the way that you communicate.
But I have to be careful of how I say things because I can take things for granted, okay? And I can take things a little too far. And so at that point, like I don't know when the line is drawn, when I cross it. It's not like there's a sand there's not like sand between us with a line there that I can clearly see the boundary.
There's a lot of gray area.
Yeah. So I have to steer clear.
Each day the line is different.
And each moment,
based
every
upon
minute.
how I'm feeling, and based on what's triggering me, and based upon what's happening in my life that day has everything to do with how I respond to you. So if the kids were throwing a temper tantrum and fighting, or if everything went wrong in my life that day, something that normally works is probably going to set me off.
Yeah, so...
And vice versa. If you had a bad day at work, vice versa.
When you're joking around, just be careful with what you're saying.
Most guys joke.
I know. That's what I'm trying to say.
If your husband doesn't joke...
Man's perspective, I'm just trying to say that when we joke or we're kind of being lighthearted about things, that's our playful manner of trying to get your attention. So just kind of recognize that the person is not trying to offend you. It's just they're actually trying to engage with you in a manner that's playful.
Because we tend to be kind of intense. As women, we tend to have a lot of drama going on in our life, and so he wants to lighten the mood by fixing it.
I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
But the joke that I just said, I know it's offensive, and so that wasn't my intention.
So laughing, if your spouse is not silly and goofy in your relationship, he's only silly and goofy, friends or outside that tells you something is wrong. And because that is most men, I haven't met one guy that did not fit this, profile. But most men, one of the masculine characteristics is that you like to fix things and you like to have fun doing it. Like everything you do, you like to have fun. If masculine, like getting in touch with your masculinity is not all, did I do good?
Pretty good, yeah.
Like his masculinity, it really is. He likes to just play and have fun. And being able to really step into that and feeling good about himself, I want him to feel good about himself. I don't want him to feel cruddy and to cut him down so that he ends up, you know, feeling bad because he obviously doesn't deserve better.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just to kind of step in a little bit more, Melissa's going to talk about this, but for the guys, I want to point it out that a woman, she kind of likes the flirting kind of more like of a gentle nature. Like,
they do, most
ooh,
women.
Baby, you're so cute.
See, and I've had a relationship that had the romance, and it was more of the, you know, non-silly romance, but it also had a really intense on the other side. So the romance didn't feel real to me. So now in this relationship, the silliness for me really tells me that he feels free being himself. He's comfortable really opening up and having fun with our relationship. And if he wasn't having fun, I would probably be like, oh man, what did I do? Did I break you? Oops, I did it again.
Oops.
Okay, let's try and fix that because I didn't want to break you because I was having a rough day. So like I was starting to say, you know, if he's not having fun in the relationship, something needs to change for him. He obviously needs some healing. He needs to feel safer in the relationship to be himself. So if you're controlling, you know, when we have babies, we are responsible for them to be alive, to take care of every second of their life to make sure that they survive. So there's a lot of responsibility, and all of a sudden we go from somebody that was playful and fun and, you know, you felt like when you dated.
Fear and panic over every little thing the child does.
Right, and so
that's not fun.
We switch, like we shift when we have children, and learning how to shift back is so critical, and it happens within me. I'm not going to get that fulfillment from him. It's going to happen within me. And it's because I'm doing some internal healing and some internal change so that I can really love myself, so that I can really love the experiences. Sorry, there's a comment on the other computer. Some of the experiences that we are having. And so when I'm really loving who I am and I'm practicing self-care, and my internal self-talk is healing. It's healthy. I have healthy boundaries. I know what I deserve and what I respect. And you know, I know that I deserve respect and I offer that respect. Then you're going to be able to receive differently. And then when he is being silly, you're not going to be like, gosh, you never seem to give me love the way I need it. Because you're coming from a place of being whole and complete and healed inside yourself so that you are just grateful for the way he behaves. So flirting, how do we flirt? Right? We flirt differently.
How do I flirt?
We flirt differently based upon how we can really feel love and offer love. But since we already know that most men's love language is touch, it doesn't take much to get him to flirt back. Like, men let things go really easy. They drop things really easy. I can't say all men. I do know a few men that just don't drop things. They don't let it go. But for the most part, men get over things pretty quick. So I have a lot of power with this touch stuff. And I can really fix this dynamic just through flirting.
It's like, dear, the lawn's a little bit long, but you can just say that in a manner.
Oh, hang on. Let me just say this really quick. So I've had a lot of women come to me asking how to flirt because, like I was saying before, once you have babies, these are to feed the baby. The other part of the body is for, you know, pushing the baby out. Like, it's not as sexual. So coming back to this stage of really loving your body, loving what it looks like, no matter how much extra chub you've got, no matter how much imperfections you've got, loving your body, and being comfortable looking at yourself, being comfortable being touched because you're so healed internally. Okay, so that please do not discount the critical component to healing from your previous traumas, to healing from some of your emotional injuries. And that's why energy healing is so incredibly beneficial, is that you're taking it to that next step past mentoring and actually working on releasing some of that negativity. So in this, I do this a lot, okay? I could say, Paul, seriously, the lawn is so long.
Yeah, it is.
Why haven't you taken care of that?
Why do you expect me to? You're just
because you're the guy. I'm taking care of the kids. I'm cleaning the house. Are you doing the laundry?
Okay, you got me on there.
Thank you.
I'll go.
Now go do the lawn. Okay. How does he feel? Did you see his face? Did you feel forced, controlled, and kind of cruddy about yourself?
Manipulated.
Okay. So here's the way I do it.
You're good.
You're such a dork. That's not how I do it. This is how I do it. This is how I do it while flirting. Paul.
Yes, dear.
My big, strong man.
Oh, yes, I am.
Will you mow the lawn for me?
Absolutely. I would love
I
to
can't
do
do
that
it
for you.
myself because I'm a delicate flower.
I know.
And I need you so much.
So dainty.
Oh, thank you.
I would do anything for you.
My big, strong man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go make you some dinner.
All right.
I love you.
I love you.
Okay.
That's some real manipulation going on there. It works.
That's how I get him to mow the lawn. Okay, so the first version is not how I get him to mow the lawn. And the first version was me explaining why it is not a good idea, because that's going to lead to the first one, right, where I was kind of criticizing you never mow the lawn.
Like, if you don't do it, I'm just going to go out there and do it.
That's all right.
And I'm going to hate you the whole time I do it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to come in mad. So that's finding fault in everything he does. And what's going to happen, he's going to find fault in everything I do too. And that's just control. It's conflict. It's negativity. It creates walls and barriers. What our goal is on day 5, I want you to be ready to become one, to really remove those barriers and to remove all the negative energy, all the negative courting, and choose to be one with your spouse because you love each other so much and you love who they are. And they're going to be different than they were when you married them, but that's okay because you still love them. And you need to open up this love. Like, it doesn't just happen. We need to open it up. We need to create it. So this is how we create it. This is just some of the first steps that we need to take to create these feelings, because love doesn't just logically happen just because you got married and had kids. Love is a feeling. Love is an emotion. And it is the result, love is a result of the way you treat each other. So that's why our fate discussion was so important, is that it is not a guarantee that this person is going to love you forever, because then that takes away my accountability for my actions and the way I treat him. But if I come over here and I'm like, you never mow the lawn, then you know what? I just messed up. I'm feeling like a victim because he's never doing his job, but I'm the one who messed up in that one. I'm the one who was very inappropriate with my words. And I would be the one that would need to make that change. Even though I'm feeling victimized, because now I'm going to have to go do it all myself because he can't even seem to do his job. I'm going to have to do the laundry, I have to do the dishes, I have to clean the house, I have to pay the bills, I have to do the lawn, I have to get the car's tires rotated. Like, I have to do it all because you don't ever do it all, because you don't do any of it. And he doesn't even take out the trash.
Don't you care about me playing my video games? I scored a 1 million on this last game.
Oh yeah, that one hit home. Okay, so we're not going to go there because that one definitely went to a bad memory. So we're not going to go there.
Not a bad memory on my side, but more so.
No, he doesn't play video games at all. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, he doesn't. Neither of us play video games. So the trash, same thing. If I went past the trash can And that, you guys, we are all working. Like, both of us, we work very hard, and we're working like around the clock. And we love our job because, as you see behind us, we have a energy healing practice where we also do mentoring. And we absolutely love our job, and we teach students, and we work with clients, and we have so many balls that we are juggling, and we work together. That is huge. That we are around each other 24/7. We don't get a break from each other. We work together. Like, can you imagine trying to be partners in something where one person isn't dominant, one person, it doesn't feel like they're being controlled, and both people are being able to get their needs met without it being like, I do this, do that, do this, do that. Like, it is some serious effort to be able to do this as a partnership, and to have it still be that we feel so good that we can coach others how to do this as well, and how to heal their relationships. And if we're in conflict, we can't do our job. Like, we can't mentor, we can't remove negative energy. Like, we're stuck in a standstill for a couple of days. So flirting, if the trash needs to take out, and I just walk past trash and I'm like, trash is overflowing again. I thought it was your day. Gosh, do I have to do everything around here? I'm not making fun of anybody, you guys. I've been there, right? I wouldn't know these things if I haven't lived it myself, whether I was the one saying it or I was the one hearing it. One way or another, we've all been there. And you may not recognize that by saying that to your spouse is pretty cruel, treating them that way. Like, what? Are you my servant? Or, on the other hand, am I supposed to be your maid? Doing it all for you? Like, weren't we supposed to be partners here? This house is yours too. I shouldn't have to tell him. He should know these things himself. But he doesn't, because he's a boy. So I want to respect him for being a boy. So I'm going to be...
What does that mean?
I love you. So I'm going to be feminine in this.
Just tell me you love me some more, and then I'll forgive you. It's
very important to use these masculine and feminine roles when we're flirting. Because I want him to feel masculine, and he wants me to feel feminine. So I
do like the feminine side.
I play it up because I am not a delicate feminine personality typically. I'm very down to earth, very girl next door. And so I play it up and I have fun with it, which works because he just wants to joke and have fun. So I just kind of make fun of the whole, girls being, oh, I'm a delicate flower and I can't do it myself. And he thinks it's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
And in doing so, I'm flirting. Like, seriously, who'd have thunk it? So I come up to him and I'm like, Paul?
Yes?
The trash is too heavy for my dainty arms.
Let me rescue you.
I need your big, strong, masculinity.
Knight in shining armor suit. And
yeah.
Come and save the day for you.
Oh, thank you so
much. It's my pleasure.
You're my hero. That's how we flirt. All the time. Now, when the kids are around, we tone that way down. But when we're alone, that's what comes out. So, so flirting, we want to use the other person's love language. And if his is touch, and it's probably touch, you need to touch him. Okay? And you need to make that effort. And maybe the reason why touch isn't yours is because you might hold it sacred as well. And so maybe it's something that you haven't allowed anybody to do because you're afraid that they could hurt you. That's how I felt used to. That's how I used to feel. I was afraid that if I allowed touch, that it would hurt me more because I was being vulnerable. So he needs to recognize that by touching like this, I am allowing myself. I thought I was going to do it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm being very vulnerable. I'm being very vulnerable, and I'm being very open with him. And he is aware that this is something that I have worked really hard on, and that I have. He's such a dork. I love his silliness. Okay, so did you hear it? I just kind of complimented his goofiness. I could have just been like, stop joking, stop playing around, I'm trying to be serious. Stop it, stop it, stop it. what would that do? Right? But I'm like, I love it. Thank you for loving me. Because that's how he is showing his love. So being married is effort. It's not work, like hard. I've heard some people say marriage takes a lot of work. It's just not hard. It takes consciousness, it takes accountability, and it takes effort. So when you're being conscious, I'm conscious with how I treat him, how I show him love, and how I accept his love. But if he's twirling me around and it's distracting me a little bit, then go with it. Like, not everything, not everything has to be planned. Not everything has to go perfect. Not everything has to be the way I premeditate it in my mind. So if in my mind, my expectation is this premeditated scene of him coming home and kissing me and playing with the children, and then we sit down to have dinner and he washes the dishes and takes out the trash, but then he doesn't do any of that, I'm going to be ticked off, right? But if we just release all those expectations for the other person and we just accept who they are and we just live in the moment, we just say, man, he chose to be with me right now. He's here. That makes me totally enamored by you and of you. Thank you for choosing me.
I'm enamored by your lips.
I know. Okay, so let's move on so we don't lose too much time here, because I recognize we're down to about 15 minutes to our hour mark. Okay, so we talked about masculine and feminine roles, silliness, flirting, how to show love, how to receive love. So I think that we kind of covered different daily practices to keep the marriage positive as well. Okay, so the other one is how men and women communicate differently and how to respect the other person's view. So in our marriage, he still has the man mindset of wanting to fix things. And I still have the emotional mindset of wanting to be supported. Emotional.
Validate me.
Validated, yeah. But I'm not going to express it in the way that is clear as to what I need. I'm most likely going to complain about something, and he's going to have to guess how I need to be validated in that moment.
I won't even be guessing. What I'll be doing is, how do I solve the problem?
Right. And I'm upset that he is not seeing my emotional needs.
You don't see the problem because it's emotional.
Right. So it can be anything that has made me feel bad, that has upset me, that has pushed me that day to feeling cruddy. And, you know, maybe the same thing for you. Maybe something tiny going wrong and you blow up. Like, why? Why would a man blow up over something tiny? And why would a woman blow up over something tiny? There's something deeper going on inside that I can't control, and he can't control it either. So he can't hold me accountable for him blowing up over something little, and I can't hold him accountable for the fact that he's, you know, kind of unaware as to why, like, I'm upset about this, if he's just trying to help. If you guys haven't seen on YouTube, it's called The Nail. I think it's called The Nail, where she's got like a nail sticking out of her forehead.
That's actually pretty good.
Isn't that a good video? And so they're, you know, they're communicating, and she just wants him to understand. She's like, it feels so, there's just something there, and I don't know, like my clothes get snagged all the time, and everywhere I go, like I can't sleep. Like, what is that? And he's like,
and the guy's like,
there's a nail in your head. Let me just pull it out.
Like,
Stop trying to fix it. Stop it.
But let me just help a little.
No. Right? And it's so funny. I mean, it was like just totally worth watching.
I always had this headache. I just don't know what the problem is.
It's
okay, honey. I'll help you.
I just need you to understand and feel compassion towards me.
But dear,
see, you always do this.
But can I just help you a little bit?
Okay, we're not acting it out too well. So anyhow, the point is learning how to respect his view and recognizing that I'm not going to get from you what I would get from me inside. the way that I would respond, the way that I need to hear this, the way that I need to feel, I either need to learn how to communicate it completely and openly, or I need to be okay with him not meeting those needs because he can't read my mind. Right?
Yeah.
And same with you. Right? If you are really stressed out.
So, well, let me kind of back up here.
Yeah.
If your spouse is saying, this is the problem, and it's more of a, I had a crummy day, this and this and this happened to me, well, that's when the man is looking for the logical solution. If the woman comes and says, I feel this way, and this is what happened, and so then that's going to be setting, it's kind of like triggering within the mind of the man that the problem is not, what happened during the day. The problem is actually the emotional aspect. Because I'm not going to recognize that unless you say, this is the way that I feel, and so I'm looking for the wrong solution, okay?
Right. So anyhow, I think.
Can I repeat what you said?
No, I think you did a great job, because what we're doing is we're talking to men and women who think differently. And so I want to be able to communicate in a way that the women understand. I want you to communicate in a way that the men understand. You're doing great.
All right.
Okay. So how to really respect the other person's viewpoint, in my mind, is going to be that if I need something, I can find a way to say it to him in a way that he knows what I want, or a way that he knows what I need. So my birthday is coming up really soon.
Yeah, you're right.
And you're not going to be here. And
I'm in trouble, aren't I?
I really want to feel as though everybody is celebrating my life, not my birthday, but the fact that I'm here. I want to feel as though each year you guys are grateful that I'm a part of your life. So will you be able to make it happen before you leave so that we can have a celebration, or after you come back, one or the other, and maybe on the day of, finding some sort of time on the day of to also say happy birthday, but I don't expect much on that day, because that day is going to need to be about you. Definitely
going to be a good tool to use.
Right, but the day's still not going to be about me, it's going to be about you. So I'm very aware that that's going to be a very important day for you. But before or after, and this is something that us women will do, is we'll plan it before or after, but because he still can't do it on the day of, we'll still hold him accountable for that also. So I have to really set myself up saying, this year, my birthday is November 20th, not November 30th. And on November 20th, I'm not even sure what day of the week that is, you guys, I'm just coming up with something. That is going to be the day that I want to have just a family dinner. I don't really want any gifts. I just want you to be close to me and flirt with me. And I just want to feel good. Okay? Mm-hmm. So can you help me to feel good that day?
I will, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I'm setting him up to win. Right? And I don't mean that we're fighting and I'm letting him win. Totally different perspective.
So
I'm setting him up to win, to be the hero in my eyes.
One thing that Melissa does that is great is that she makes it known that on her birthday she really wants something special. Because a lot of times we hear, oh, don't worry about it, don't do anything, it's okay. When inside they really want something special.
And then you don't do anything, and then we're really upset at
you. And so let the guy know that, throw him a party if you want a party, take him out to dinner if you want a dinner, or whatever it is. Take him to, or, take you out to like a big fancy entertainment show or something.
I don't want anything like that. Please don't do any of that.
Hang out with the family.
I've always wanted a surprise party. I've thrown probably 3 dozen surprise parties in my life, and no one's ever thrown me one back. So I would, at one point, like to have something like that happen, but that doesn't have to be this year. This year's crazy. And it's Thanksgiving, like it's really tough. But something else, I lost a little bit of my train of thought about how I wanted to. So keep talking. You know what you're going to say?
Well, okay, so just expect to receive what you tell your husband or spouse.
Yeah, because most
boyfriend,
women,
girlfriend.
you know, most women, and I've done this before, where I've said, I really don't want anything. Because sometimes I really don't, but I'm not clear that I still want to feel special. I don't want anything, that's true, but I want to feel special. So I want you to go to some sort of effort to make that day special. And that can just seriously just be making a cake with the kids, or encouraging the children to sit down and write me birthday cards, you know, or gosh, doing something really silky and goofy in the bedroom. Like, there are so many different things that you can do to make that day special, and I will feel it in any of those manners. So what I'm doing is, I don't want him, thank you, I just remembered. A lot of us women, we tend to wait to see if he's going to remember. And then when he forgets, we're like, see, he obviously doesn't love me. That's setting him up to lose, right? Because he's probably going to forget. It's just man. No offense. I love you.
I love you. It's a good thing we got married on April Fool's Day, because
we did.
It's a good chance I would forget.
And I thought, instead of getting each other's gifts, we can just play pranks on each other. How fun is that? Okay, but seriously, if I just waited for him to remember my birthday, and then the day after, I'm like, oh, see, you know, you obviously don't love me, you obviously don't care. I'm setting him up to lose time and time again. It's like that craving for conflict, that craving for contention. And this can be the male or the female. I've been in relationships where it's the male who is craving conflict. And whichever person you are, you want to take a step back and say, am I setting this other person up to win? Am I setting them up to play the hero, to be the good guy in my life? Or am I constantly setting them up to stumble, fall, and make a mistake, and to just point the finger and blame? And it's all a matter of what you want out of life, but that's not what I want. So if I'm fully aware, I don't want to be upset December 1st. And I don't want to feel bad about myself. And I don't want my birthday to be like this dreaded day that everybody's afraid of because they know I'm going to be upset. So I'm going to set him up. Be like, hey, dude, we got more than 2 months to go. And I've been talking about it for 3 weeks. So I've been giving him 3 months notice. And I haven't missed a week where I reminded him that my birthday is November 30th. And
good job, Melissa. You did great.
And this is just something that I'm going to continue to do. Now, when Christmas rolls around, kind of the same thing happens, but I respond a little bit differently. I want the family to be together. I want the kids to experience something specific. So I would be like, hey, let's do something special so that they have some major memories. And I really want to go see Christmas lights, and I really want to go ice skating, and I want to create these memories. I don't want a gift if it means that we're going to go ice skating, go see Christmas lights, and maybe dress up as Santa or something like that. And if you do those things, then you make the whole month Christmas, not just Christmas Day, but the whole month of December feel like Christmas, and kind of feel like I'm in a Hallmark movie, then I'm good. The Hallmark movie is something that, if you expect that, it may never happen. It's pretty hard to create that in a relationship. Okay, so without getting into that too far, I just kind of wanted to touch base on this because we only have a few more minutes left before we need to wrap this up. It's just that I really want to respect that he's a man and he thinks very differently than me. So he's going to respond differently. So if I need something from him, I need to express it in such a way that he can meet those needs. And same back. If he hears me communicating and he doesn't get it, he doesn't know what I want, you can use your words. And you may not be expressing your emotions, but you can just say, wow, that really stinks that you're going through that. So do you want help fixing it, or would you like some emotional support? Right? So the men can ask that. That's not too difficult to say from a man's perspective, I don't believe. And that's going to help you to open up that gateway so that doesn't turn into a big fight, right? And if the other spouse just has already cut you out and they're just not talking to you at all anymore, it's a little bit more complicated. You know, there's multiple different techniques that you can do to really just improve yourself. And you can go through our self-sabotage steps and you can really make some personal improvements, and that person may or may not come around. We're not going to control the outcome, but you are still you. You are still going to wake up, you know, next to yourself tomorrow. And so you're going to still be the one experiencing these things. So then conflict, and we might run over our time period, but handling conflict, you know, I was asked really recently how, you know, do we fight and how do we handle that? And I'm like, well, not in my understanding of fight, no. We do have some conflict, not a lot. It's kind of like once every month or two. And it's really just a small disagreement that turns into us both feeling bad about ourselves. And that's a pattern that we have been really working on in our mentoring steps so that we can change that pattern. But once you're already in conflict, it's pretty hard to get back out. And one of the things that we do, and we're going to talk about this on Friday in our cleanup day, and I think we're going to focus a lot on conflict on Friday. So I'm just going to touch base on this, is we do tapping sequences on each other. So we have a bunch of emotional freedom technique tapping sequences that are God-centered. And we just do these different tapping spots while using affirmations. And it's a very loving gesture that includes touch and affirmations and balancing the internal hormones. And when you're working on balancing those internal hormones, it's going to also assist in the emotional reaction. Because it's those emotions, once the emotions get going, you can't really talk yourself out of it. But the EFT, the tapping, is a emotional solution in addition to some of the energy work that we'll be teaching you. And we have a marital one, a marital conflict tapping that we're going to show you on Friday. And it is dynamic with how much you can shift it and change it based upon your current situation and what you're experiencing. And it brings us both out of the dumps every single time. And we make a conscious decision, like we talk to each other and we say, do you really want to keep feeling like this? And he's like, no. And I'm like, me neither. And so I say, and he's like, but I don't know how to fix it. And I'm like, are you kidding? We teach this stuff. Of course we know how to fix this. We've always known how to fix this. And we go through the steps that we'll teach you Friday, and we go through the tapping, and we both feel better, and the conflict's over. Like, so much better than yelling, swearing, screaming, being angry, losing your temper, not talking for a few days. It creates this oneness that we hold dear in our relationship. So that's how we treat each other. We really do act like this behind camera. Like, I think that it has created such a healthy environment for our family. I want to talk about that tomorrow with our children. How the way we treat each other has created a whole different belief system for our children with how they treat others, how they believe that they deserve to be treated, and how, you know, they go about their life in a more peaceful, more calm manner so that they can meet the demands that are in their life as well. Because at home, it's a very peaceful place. So we will definitely talk about that tomorrow, how we have created that sort of dynamic at home. And we may or may not have some of the kids here to talk about it as well. We'll see. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please put them below. If you would like to see some of our other videos, please comment below, and I can send you a link to register on teachable.com. And if you're interested in learning more about the energy work, please comment below. If you're interested in the self-sabotage program, please comment below. Like, we have so much that we would like to share with you. And these classes we just felt were so critical for those that we love. And we just wanted to give you guys like a nice, simple way to make some steps to create some change in your own lives and in your own marriage. So we just want to share love with you and let you know that you're not alone, and that we've been there and we've experienced what you're experiencing, and that there's a way out. Like, I don't mean divorce, but there's a way out to make things better. And we have been very successful in making that work, and we want to share that with you. And do you have anything you would like to share, my dear?
No,
You're so smart.
we're good.
And I love everything that you have to add.
Thank you. I received that.
Thank you so much for being you.
Mm-hmm. I love you.
All right, everybody. We love you too.
Okay, let me help you turn this
I need to You can't pick me up that way.
I was gonna put you over my shoulder.
And I'm going to flap until I fall
Why
down.
are you falling?
You're such a good fall. I didn't go over your
You
shoulder.
didn't work with me on that one.
You can try and put me over your shoulder again in a moment. All right, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.